Today's learning goal is that students will be able to identify and sort positive and negative numbers accurately when they see them in mathematical expressions. This expression is -17 minus -5. And by the end of this, you should be able to identify which of those numbers is negative and which of those numbers is not. The sign of a number tells us important information about that number. For example, right now, we have 5,000 of something. We could have 5,000 giraffes. We could have 5,000 degrees Celsius. We don't have units on this, but without a sign in the front, it means positive. So right now I've changed it to $5,000, which is good news. We're happy. Unfortunately, if we add a negative sign in the front, it has now changed what it means, and we are not so happy. We now owe $5,000. So the next page here you should have, it follows along for a page that'll be added to your notebook. So I'd like us to talk about ways we can describe and represent positive 10 and ways we can represent negative 10. So one word you could write here would be positive. And the opposite of positive is then a negative. So positive 10, negative 10. Another way this positive 10 could be described is up. Up 10 is a positive. The opposite of up would then be down 10. Negative 10 tells us to go down. This 10 here, similar to the last slide, could be we have $10. So you've earned, a word could be earned $10. And the opposite of earning something would be owing $10 or having a debt of $10. So earning money, having money versus owing money or having a debt. This 10 here could also be an increase. Something could increase 10 degrees. The opposite of increase is decrease. So you'd be writing in decrease. The reason right now, by the way, the words are not showing up in class, we wrote them in and the order changed because students came up with the different words. So I'm just coming up with words right now as I do this lesson video. Another word for positive 10 could be above. So 10 could be 10 meters above sea level. The opposite of above would then be below. So the opposite of positive 10 is negative 10. So negative 10 would tell us to go 10 meters below sea level. Another direction word could be right. Positive 10 tells us to go 10 units right on a number line. Negative 10 is the opposite of right, then is left. So it tells us to go 10 units left on the number line. So please make sure you have all of these lines filled in with different words. Therefore, just based on like what we did on the last slide, negative means the opposite of the positive value. So back here, positive 10, the opposite of positive 10 is negative 10. So what is negative 7? What does that mean? So if a negative tells you the opposite of, that means this negative means the opposite of negative 7. The opposite of negative 7 is positive 7. Mind blown for many people, students and adults. So let's think of it again. You have the opposite of 22 degrees Fahrenheit colder. So what's the opposite of something getting colder? It's increasing, it's getting warmer, it's getting hotter. So when we have a double negative, mathematically, that tells us to do the opposite of whatever is happening. So here we have the opposite of going down 13, because negative could mean down. The opposite of going down, bam, bam. I call bam, bam because we change those negative signs into positive signs by drawing vertical lines. Bam, bam. Negative 13 means positive 13, up 13. Here we have take away $42 of debt. Negative 42 could mean you owe $42. Well, if you take away, bam, bam, take away debt, you actually have gained money, positive 42. Okay, we're back to your note sheet now. You'll see that there's a negative 3. I would like you underneath this to write the opposite of negative 3 and then put an arrow to the positive 3. In class, we did another example, but you don't have to write that in your note sheet. And then we came up with student ideas in class. So you could come up with any number here. You could put negative 100, the opposite of negative 100. Bam, bam, you would write a positive 100 on your note sheet. So whatever number you want to do, you don't have to use 100. Please fill in your note sheet, though, to show the opposite of a negative equals a positive value of that number. Okay, we're on to a second paper you should have now. And you should, this is a double-sided paper that you should fold in half. And this is the front cover. Once you're on the inside left of the front cover, you're going to see these pre-done notes. So please read over the notes and highlight things that you think are important. So key information is that the sign to the left is the sign of the number, because in math we read from left to right. If there's no sign in front of a number, like the 17 here, it's invisible, it is a positive. So we're sorting them into the positive and negative boxes. 17 is a positive 17, minus 89. If you're taking away something, it means it's a negative value. So just think of it, the sign to the left is the sign of the number. It's a negative 89. At the bottom of the left side, you'll see this example with 4 different values, 4 different numbers. The first one, negative 30, goes in the negatives box. We have the opposite of negative 62, plus, meaning 62 is a positive. Then we have plus 5, which is positive 5, and then plus a negative 11. This is, we're adding a negative, meaning this is a negative, so negative 11. And highlight anything on this part that you think is important. Here are a few examples that are not on the note sheet just for you to think about. So I'm going to go ahead and click through them. But before you watch the answers, please try to think about where they should go. Negative 55, positive 11. Positive 4, negative 8. Negative 13, negative 22. Positive 9, negative 37. A lot of people miss that one. Sign to the left is the sign of the number. Negative 80, and then a positive 29. Okay, now we're on your note sheet. So please try these you try examples, example 1 and example 2, and then check to see how you did. You could pause the video before moving on. Okay, for example 3, please write in 72 minus 99. Push pause, try it, and then check how you did. Example 4, negative 8 minus negative 5. Try it, pause before seeing the answers. Please write in these 2 examples, press pause, try them, and check your answers. Last 2 examples to write in. Please push pause to write them down and actually try them using pencil. If you make any mistakes, learn from those mistakes and then fix them. And you should have the homework that will be due later this week. And that is the end of this lesson video.